Massive show today. We have two guests. We go to our man Tippa from North Footscray and get the scoop there, how he's feeling. And we go one better. We go to SA and get our man Mitch Georgiades, who joins the set. Whoa.
And we're talking about Greg Swan, the footy boss who comes in. What is he going to prioritise? And we also talk about the Bont. Is he going to sign? My heart says he will.
Your heart says maybe. I think the Western Bulldogs' hearts and fingers are crossed. We talk about the Gold Coast Suns, how good they are. The Profit Propeller, we've got it locked. The curse is done. The sage has been smoked because I think that's what you do with it. It's going to be a big show and I'm excited.
I'm excited as well, so tune in right now. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Aces AFL show, and I've never been more excited to see you boys. There's a lot to unpack. That is the baddest beat we've had this year. We are so close. We just needed more sage. Anyway, I'll welcome Daisy Thomas and Mitchie Wallace back to the studio. We have some big guests joining us today. I haven't told you who they are. No. I will surprise you shortly, boys, but take me back to Sunday night. Where were you and how were you feeling when the siren went?
Well, I was just getting over the fact of how much sage I consumed. I'm not sure what the normal levels are, but I was through the roof. So I just sort of got back to planet Earth and, well, I wasn't sure if I was seeing and believing what it was. My goodness, I don't know. In the end, it was just, what have we done? The sage all weekend was just...
There was a few comments about it. I'm not sure if that's sage or a big joint or something. So we had to really clear that up on socials because it looked very suspect, whatever that sage was. We had to make sure we really
overdose on sage.
Everyone's like, gee, Daisy's eyes are caught. I go, no, it's sage.
I'm pretty sure it was sage. I did have a lot of Doritos after. So.
I just loved that Curtis got it done within the first quarter, so that was an easy watch.
Shag and Neil by half time.
Shag and Neil by half time. It was a bit closer with the Hawks and the Fremantle.
A bit close. That was as bloody exciting as it gets. They were down by 2 goals.
That was the sage. Like that was, if the sage is ever just going to come through, we're home. That was a leg that was a concern.
And then we come to Sunday afternoon, the best time slot at 5 o'clock on a Sunday arvo, and.
There's two things
Mitchie kicked a goal within 20 seconds of the game. Yeah. Like, it started like a house on fire.
We are a curse. We've got to stop putting the curse on the players.
I am all about believing, and I am still not saying it's cursed, but I am saying it's cursed. But I think we've got one in us. But as long as we get one, I think we'll be very happy. But there's two things to me. Like, we've put the curse on Mitchie that week. He's kicked, as I said, he's kicked 20 in the last 5. But
he's fine.
His teammates let him down, I thought. They were down to West Coast.
Tommy's big on this.
No, they were down to West Coast by like what? 3/4 time. They're trailing. West Coast have no players.
100 shots on goal.
Yeah, but they should have had more entries. I think they could have fed him a couple of cheapies.
Well, and that's it. That's more of the curse. So we've then cursed the players to chip the ball sideways.
I honestly thought Port would win by 70 just off the back of a few players that weren't playing and being at home. And anyway, it was, and then the weather started getting wet. I said, this is nasty. But boys, how exciting is it though when you get the 3 ticks and we've done our job.
Well, that's the thing. Our job was done. So anywhere from there, it was either going to be hero for the local fella. Is it Mitchie from?
No, it's not Mitchie. It's Tippa. Petrie.
How good was the vision though of them at the pub? And that's again this whole Profit Propeller, getting the clubs together, enjoying your footy. Again, obviously what was on the line with a 28 grand purse, but seeing them watch it, it excited me. They were
has
great
anyone
sports,
spoken to him?
I
Have you followed
been speaking to Adam Petridis, the representative there from North Footscray.
Sure, it's not Mitch.
No, it's not Mitch. It's Tippa. Well, you're getting. There's so many
must
Mitches.
Have been in my DMs.
We've got Mitchie Turnbull who's kicking for cash, boys. That's tomorrow, by the way. We're going out to Port Arlington. We'll hype that later.
Wow.
We've obviously got Mitch Georgiades, Mitchie bloody Wallace. Well, boys, that's enough about the Propeller. Obviously, the baddest beat we've had so far. And I just thought, well, let's just go back to the well. Let's go to our man, Adam Petridis, the Tippa from North Footscray, who's joining us live. Tip. Talk to us, mate. How are the vibes down at the footy club after your selection just missed?
Oh, they were very, very high and they crashed down very, very quickly. But, it was a great afternoon. All the boys got around it and, couldn't ask for anything more, I reckon, other than winning.
You sound a bit flat. I don't know whether you're still hungover from going down to the Victoria Hotel, one of the nicest establishments there in Yarraville. You had a few beers. It was a great turnout. Loved your work with all the boys. What was it like having the pressure of the whole football club on your shoulders?
Well, I certainly felt it. Like, we are in a bit of debt, so the 28 grand would have been good, and I could have got a statue built out the front of the club rooms, but wasn't meant to be. But, definitely felt it all crashing upon me in that last quarter.
Did you boys have a win on field on the weekend?
Yeah, we just got up, I think, a goal. So we're 5 goals up in the last quarter, and they came back and we just held on.
So it was about to be the fairy tale. They've had the win on the Saturday. They've gone to the pub. You were all in playing kits, yeah? That's what I saw.
Yeah, we try to get as many boys down with their full playing kits. A few of them bought their mouth guards too, which I think was a bit unnecessary, but yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. How have you been going this year? Have you won many games? Are you?
Yeah, currently sitting second, so looking pretty good. Knocked off the top side already, so we just need to do it when it counts.
I loved whoever runs your social media account. They said, kids are crying now. Cheers. Still training with chewed up lyrebirds and cold showers for the rest of the year. It sounds like it's tough times at the footy club.
Well, that's the vice president, and funnily enough, he actually sent me a Snapchat after the game, and he cried at home. He thought we were home, and then when we got beat, he actually shed a few tears. The poor fella.
Well, hopefully you're watching from the very start, because our boy kicked a goal within the first minute of the game, and we were on. We had three goals effectively for the rest of the game, for the whole game. And then, yeah, like you said, had enough opportunity, old Mitchy boy.
There's some beats in punting, Mitchy boy, and unfortunately for your footy club, you're on a pretty bad one. But that is the game. So we appreciate all the stuff that you sent through. You boys were very good and good fun, taking it in good spirits.
I love that he's just called you Mitch Adzi.
I'll call you Mitch.
Yeah, you just called him Mitchy. His name's Tippa.
I call him Tippa. Yeah.
Jeez, it's been a bad beat all round.
His close mates call him Mitch. Isn't that right, Mitchy?
Yeah, exactly right, mate. Exactly right.
Well, mate, I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on for a quick chat.
Good sport.
Great sport. And that's unfortunately the game. The Propeller, it's cursed, mate. We're convinced it's cursed. We need more sage. But don't go anywhere. As we have the graveyard, you'll go in there with a few other teams. There's probably 5 of yous. So there might be another chance at the end of the year. So tell the vice president to wipe those tears away and fire up in the finals and see if we can get you back on the Propeller. But thanks so much for joining us, mate.
No, thanks, boys. Much appreciated.
Oh, there you go. Hearing from little Tippa from North Footscray.
Yeah, thanks for getting him on.
Yeah, I thought, we've had some big guests and you promised him. And
I
rolled him out as Mitchy boy.
I told you, it's been tough getting the guests every week, but I reckon this is our biggest guest of the year.
You got another one?
I've got another one. I've gone one better. Off the back of last week, it was very important that we get the great man on. He's second in the Coleman. He is trending on the show. Let's
introduce
him.
We need to apologise to him.
The guy that we put a curse on him. We put the Propeller curse on this bloke. He's second in the Coleman. He's kicked 20 goals in 5 weeks, and then we decided to put the curse on him. Welcome, Mitch Georgiades from Port Adelaide Football Club. There he is.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Off the top again, just want to apologise for putting all the heat on you Sunday prime time. What was it like? You've been shooting the lights out, and then all of a sudden the ball was going everywhere, but you still had about 1,000 shots. How you feeling, great man?
Oh, mate, the curse is a real thing. Thought I was kicking straight up until that game, and then all of a sudden couldn't kick the side of a barn door. It was all over the shop. But yeah, it was nice to finally get a win again.
Mate, we mentioned off the top of the show, you had a goal within the first 20 seconds of play, and we only needed 3 more. We're like, wow, this is a creme de la creme. And then the curse came back in, but it was a beautiful start. But yeah, mate, it's great to have you on, and you have had a magnificent year.
Absolutely.
Talk us through, I don't know, what you've done differently, because obviously you've put some patches of games together in years gone by, but it feels like you've just really found form that's continuing on.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, a couple of years ago doing the ACL and then having a whole year out, and I felt as though last year I built pretty strongly in towards the end of the season. And then this year I was really excited going into the year with hopefully having Toddy Marshall and Jackie Lukosius over. But both those boys went down early in the season with some pretty big injuries. So it left me up in the forward line pretty by myself almost with a couple other small boys, but not a lot of tall timber down there. So yeah, it's been nice to kick a couple of nice snags this year. Certainly when the last couple of weeks we've played some pretty nice footy, and it helps to get on the end of it, some good ball movement.
Yeah, and we talk about goal kicking being the fruit of your labour, but it's more your contested marking work and your ability to cover the ground and read the ball in flight. Have you been doing any more work in that area, or is it just something that's come because you're getting a lot more supply? Yeah,
look, it's probably a bit of both. I think I've worked a lot on my craft over the years. Probably in the past I've just relied on trying to sprint and jump at the ball as much as possible, but this year a bit more craft to me, a bit smarter with the way I use my body. Typically coming up against some bigger bodies and playing against some pretty solid defenders. Movement is my number one thing, so trying to stay on the move as much as possible.
You've got it in all areas, though. You can take the really good contested markers we've touched on. You're good at ground level, but I love the fact you always love launching a hanger. You're going to take Mark of the Year one day. We can feel that. You just really rip into it. You still got the confidence to do that after the knee?
Yeah, certainly still got the confidence. I don't know if I've got the same spring anymore. I think before the knee, I was certainly a bit more bouncy, but look, I still try to take a fair few. Caught my fair share of sprays from Kenny every now and then for trying to do that, but that's all good.
Well, you can now.
Literally.
That's actually an interesting one, Mitchy boy. When you know Kenny's, his career as a coach at Port is going to be over at the end of the year, how's it been, mate? Like, have you started to see as the season's, slowly getting to the end, is he getting a little bit more emotional, or is he doing anything different? I saw his press conference with Sam Powell-Pepper and how he said that's, really sad for him for all, obviously Sam being injured firstly, but that was his last game he's coaching him. Have you just noticed a few little things lately?
Maybe in the last couple of weeks, I think you can start to see that he's realising it's probably the end of time, and he's really wanting to enjoy the final time we have here as a group, and it's the last time he'll be coaching us as a group. So, look, I think he's, as much as tries to keep things as similar as possible, I think he's definitely trying to enjoy and soak up the last couple of weeks.
Love it, mate. Let's talk about the horny one. Jason was on fire, 27-3. They say don't poke the bear for a reason. They certainly did. I think Harley Reid poked the bear and he was on fire. But, mate, he's played with a broken foot. When did he break his foot? Has he told you in the sheds when he was injured? Because the performance he had with a broken foot is crazy.
Yeah, I think he did it in the second quarter. I don't know how he's got through the game and dominated the way he has. And then he goes at the end of the game, my foot's a bit sore. Like, I'm not quite too sure what happened. Yeah, at the end, I think there was a pretty severe crack, and they said, look at that season done, I think. So, he's a freak. He's a talented beast, and, don't poke the bear for sure.
He loves the competitive and the contested pill. Who do you knock around with? You've got a pretty young list over there. Who were you sort of knocking around with at the club?
Yeah, look, we got a pretty close group. Get on really well with Zachy. He's probably my closest mate over here. But then, I live with Jack Lukosius, Horny, get on really well with. Big Ollie Wines and Darcy Byrne-Jones as well. Tight with them boys. There's such a good crew here. Everyone gets around each other pretty well.
Now, Daisy, you love your golf. You fancy yourself at golf, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Bloody hell, I'm outstanding. Make sure you... Do you want to come on teeing off with me, mate? We'll get you over here.
Oh, absolutely. That sounds great. I saw you were just in Perth at Rotto doing it.
Yeah, been to Rotto, been to King Island. You're obviously a golfer. What do you play off?
I'm a 4.
Yeah, I don't think Daisy knew your game. Great man. I knew that you were one of the best players.
What kind of sticks are we working with?
Well, I've got some Tyler sticks. Can't go wrong with them.
Where do you play? You golf over there?
I'm at Royal Adelaide.
There you go, boys. Do your research. You guys
track.
didn't know how good he is, not only at football,
didn't even know
but
who's
golf.
coming on.
Yeah. Don't tell me to do a bit of research.
I didn't tell the boys.
Otherwise, I would have done some research.
That is fair. How do you play such good football and golf, mate? Like, how are you playing off 4? That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I play only typically once a week or so. I'm probably inconsistent golfer. I need some good shots, but some very poor shots as well. So, it's just a bit of fun. Get moving again after a weekend and get down to the course.
Well, while we're on it, the Open's on this week. It's the last major of the year. Have you got a tip for us before we round it out?
Oh, I'm going to go Johnny Rahm.
Nice. I think he's about third in the market, around $11.
Zachy Butters loves his golf too, so you must be just whispering in his ear, don't piss off anywhere, mate. I need to be golf buddies.
Yeah, exactly. He's an angry golfer, that bloke.
Have you got a crew that you play golf with? Is there like a foursome or a fivesome?
There's a couple of boys at Royal Adelaide, and there's a couple of boys at Glenelg as well. But yeah, Zachy's a very notorious club thrower.
Oh, there you go.
I like it. That's right up my
Who's a bloke? Who's a bloke that would have a spare ball in his socks and just drop it on the fairway and say, just found me ball?
Oh, that's definitely Horny.
I love that.
He's a competitive
broken foot and a fraud. Let's go.
Now, mate, you told me you had a little gift for North Footscray. Did you want to tell the boys what you're going to cook up?
Got him a new pair of boots signed by myself. So
for you to offer up signed boots and sitting second in the Coleman, we've still got plenty of weeks to go. You might even be taking that out. That is very generous of you, mate. So thank you so much for that. We'll have a laugh with that one. And I really appreciate it.
And I think just as a panel, we'll agree not to put you in the Profit Propeller again, just so you can actually have a chance to go on and win the Coleman. We'll take the curse off you. We'll take it back and you can be onwards and upwards.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Appreciate that.
Turn that 3-6 into 6-3.
What a sign of relief that is from someone. Mate, thank you. You're a champion.
You're a great
All the
man.
best for the rest of the year, King, and thank you so much for jumping on. We'll chat to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mitchie. Oh, what a ripping
What a
fella.
legend.
He's a
What
good
a legend.
man, isn't he?
What about the relief when we said we won't put the pressure and the curse on you again? He's like, thank Christ for that, fellas.
You go, we're not going to do it for the rest of the year. And he went, oh, thank God.
Do you know what? Yeah. Oh, but you do forget, even we talk about his form, he did have an ACL not long ago.
Mate.
For him to bounce back the way that he has, like, hats off to him. 'Cause he's a good bloke and a good footballer.
I stopped listening after he said he'd come on teeing off. We'll make that happen.
You did get a bit excited over there. I could see you over there.
Found golf
hit the table.
Another little tipper over there.
You're listed about 14 golf courses you're going to play.
He is a very good golfer, though. I'm surprised you didn't know that. They reckon he's unbelievable.
I did have an inkling he was a good golfer, but this is the thing when you don't tell us who the guests are, and then you ask a loading question and tell us to do some research.
That was a disgrace by me. Do your research, boys.
Walked us to the legend and just booted us
I'm
off.
not surprised though. Zachy Butters has the club throwing
What
in
a
his
lit-
Arsenal. Oh, just can you picture him?
And then
Shanks
the horny one just dropping the balls out of the ankles. You know that little? Have you seen those little machines where you click the button and it just drops through the pants and roll there? It is
Click your ankle. Oh no, well done. Couple of great guests and
Well done, Tommy.
all within the great spirit of it. Mitchie Georgiades. Let's just leave him alone for the.
But
the
how about
curse.
him saying, "I want to give some boots"? I said, "You don't have to do anything like that." And he goes, "No, I'd love to." So sign boots from potentially the Coleman or the runner-up is enormous,
Yeah.
and
No,
they can
didn't
put
have to do
them.
that.
They can put them on the shelves and look at them every day.
Mate, if he can continue this form though, all Australian, he's knocking on the door.
Well, are you doing your All Australian locks this week or next?
No, next week. We're going to go. We'll revisit some of the
Gonna be
names I
big.
put on that.
Well, it's a big week next week. We're going to obviously hype next week in this week's show. We've got plenty to talk about. But Daisy, you got your power rankings.
Power
They're due
rankings.
next week as well.
Yes.
So power rankings, and you have your All Australian locks and squad. And breaking news, the Legends game. They've just announced the skipper, the coaches. Have you guys seen that?
I did, yes.
Some really big names.
So Luke Hodge and Tim Watson.
big name.
There are some there's superstars. So Gary Ablett Jr. has been announced, Cyril Rioli, and the only other name that we've got is Train. And all I could think
I
about.
might be withdrawing after
Yeah.
Cyril. I've just heard Cyril's the skipper of the All Stars.
There's two highlights we're thinking of.
Oh
and one of them is your bloody brown mark in those white shorts.
I might as well play for Hawthorn boys. Got the brown at the back and the yellow at the front when Cyril's around. As long as if I do play Hodgie, if you're listening, don't play me at half back, mate. I need to be nowhere near Cyril Rioli on that game. That'll be a nightmare.
you're just rubbing shoulders, mate, with the
Still
greatness.
haven't
aren't
actually had a kick yet. My first kick is going to be this week with the kick for cash. We got to talk about that. This is huge. So this would have been this is
Another
familiar.
curse.
Oh, surely. Well, the thing is,
not go there.
we can't. There's no way knowing you can't win money. I'll go over the kicks again, but it's pretty straightforward, boys. There's 6 kicks, 20 metres out in front. You get 2 there, 35 metres on an angle, 2 there, 2 from the boundary with a little dribble, and you got 2 check side, right foot, must carry on the full. Then 2 from 50 metres out. They don't have to carry. They can dribble through. And then 1 kick, which is for 4,000, which is a torpedo from 50 metres out, must carry over the line. Billy Brownless is going to be there. Wolves going to be there. I'll be there. And more importantly, the whole Port Arlington, not the Muscles, the
Muscles
Demons,
will be there.
they will be there. And Mitchie Turnbull, our man, who
Mitchie.
jumped on the show, is the skipper. He's got his return game. He's been out for 10 weeks with a broken wrist, so he is very nervous. So we're going to head down there tomorrow, and he has the
Hang
weight
on.
of the world.
So
on
his
his
return
shoulders.
game is that weekend and he's having the shots. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, the
Mitchie.
stakes.
You want
The
pressure.
stakes are
You want pressure. So he can elect every second kick to be anyone that he plays with or one of us if he wants. But it's going to be exciting. So there's going to be cash finally
Do
from
you
the
boys
Propeller
kick the
given.
footy a bit?
I haven't had a kick for 3 years.
Not really. I kick with my son and Oz kick. I mean, Oz kick with Charlotte.
Yeah.
We're pretty flat that you've decided to have a holiday.
Well, it's working.
A
but
long
thanks for
holiday.
that. Yeah. And you're not the only one.
72-hour holiday, you.
Yeah.
Not the. I feel like is there a bit of drama at home?
No, there's no drama at home.
Do you need a break?
37 and a half weeks pregnant to just pop past Hamilton Island for a couple of days, 23
Did
degrees.
you buy a flexi fare ticket?
Yeah,
That's the question.
I've actually gone to the levels of, so Thursday we get there. Thursday night I've got a return ticket from Brisbane and the same with Friday night, just in case. So, if you get a phone call, Qantas, I'll be cancelling those and asking for a credit. See you soon. Hopefully, that'll be best outcome.
All right, let's quickly break through some stuff from last week because there was plenty to talk about. The Suns Pies lived up to the prime time game that we all wanted. I thought it was going to be a blowout. The Pies always come back. Noah Anderson's goal late was enormous. Matty Rao was enormous. And it was just such a big win for their football club. Obviously, Tuke Miller going out, Howe was injured, Dacos a bit injured. It just had everything. There was the perfect game for AFL to be played on Friday Night Football.
Yeah, no, it was. And are you a commentator?
I was working,
Yeah, you were working.
Again,
it was just a great watch for a
Gold
Friday
Coast.
night to get two teams both vying for obviously success at the end of the year and to then Collingwood to, like they normally do, fight and fight. They've got some stars in their teams. But to come back and then just fall short, I think it was probably fitting because Gold Coast did enough to win. They would have stolen at Collingwood had they had won. So well done to them. And I think it's been said before that it was probably their biggest win in their history, which I reckon it is.
I loved how well drilled they were, especially the first half. You could just see the way they moved the ball so in sync on offense, got back hard on defense. But then when the Pies came, they sort of shut up shop and you're like, oh dear, like you're going to have to sort of pull something out here and go back to playing your exciting brand of footy, which we saw in the first half. And the first goal that got them back, Long's goal, I think it was, and just even the contest before that, when him and Dacos went through and bloody split each other, like finals, like he just then landed on the deck, gives off a handball. The Anderson moment, like that's what all great games are about, good moments, players stepping up in them. And the Gold Coast Suns, you probably deserve to win. You put yourself in that position, but nothing is given in this game. And the fact they did, what that does for the football club, they announced themselves on the big stage. They now have got eyes across the competition on them. I couldn't have loved it anymore. And the boys post game in the sheds were playing the Bad Boys music.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Detroit?
We ain't going, like
That's
pumping.
amazing.
So they're all in. Well done to them.
That was good. We had Mac Andrews obviously on, and it was just good to see him flying around. Obviously, massive game coming up this week against the Crows. But
Phil Seeker.
Yes, that will. There you go. Say that again.
Phil Seeker.
It's hard to say his last name, isn't it? A lot of people really just don't know how to say it.
You just try and butcher it as much as possible and you get it right.
Yeah, there you
Phil
go.
Thorpe.
Well, you love belief.
Yes.
You talk about belief. I think you said in our first show of the year, I don't know if it was for the Suns, but you said, I'm going to be talking about belief all year. Surely that win over the Pies gives them the belief to now go, we are over this hurdle of not playing finals and being that club we used to be. We've now arrived.
Yeah, and I think because you talk about the byplay within the game as well. Collingwood hit the front. Jamie Elliott nailed that set shot. No, but when they hit the
What
front,
does that mean? Well, like, there's a lot of people out there on the the tradies on the job site.
subplots.
Yeah, subplots and biplots.
No, biplots is probably one that I've made up, but subplots. So there's different stories and things happening within the game. So there's layers to it. There's different things emerging, and to obviously lose the lead after winning or being in front by so much at quarter time
40
and
points are up at one point.
controlling the game for so long, and then to shit the bed nearly.
No,
but then
that's a messy thing
Jamie
to
hit
do.
the front with that kick, but then Noah Anderson and their leaders, they stepped up and then they got the job done. So we touched on before about the importance in the club's history. And if you want to take a look at that last quarter, I might divulge Josh Dacos.
Well, you just beat me to it because I heard the big collision. And by the way, Josh Dacos, he is tougher than I thought. What
tough as
about that?
nails.
Just pop straight up. And then his last quarter, is this what you're going to get to? Because
I'm getting to, yes.
His last quarter was unbelievable.
And the stats have been shown out there. It's the highest rated quarter for a long time. 16 touches, 2 goals, 4 clearances, six. Yeah, it's a great game.
He went on ball for the first time. I've never seen him play on ball. He's always been halfback or wing.
So that's in the back, and that's in the skyrocket for Fly McRae to use as the season progresses into the finals. But if we talk about individual efforts over a quarter, now I've scaled back for the last 25 years of footy, and I've come up with 3 of the best performances by individuals.
Mine in the West Coast.
You are not part of the top 3, Daisy.
3 goals. in
Sorry to
about
say
4
that,
minutes.
but I'm going to take you back on 3
Andrew
occasions.
Bradley's
But there's obviously been some really big moments for players. But I'm going to give you 3, and number 1, I reckon by far, is James Hird back in 2004.
Is that when he hugged the bloke?
It's when he hugged the bloke. He had a big week with the controversy with the umpires and what he said, but he's kicked 2 goals, had 15.
Very careful with that.
We're going to be very careful on and off field. We've got to be careful. But I reckon that's my number 1. Number 2, we'll take you back to 2008, Stewie Jew.
Yep, grand final.
You kicked those 2 goals in the second quarter.
Yep.
Yeah, the prophet Propeller. 2 goals. He was.
Jeez, we are Stewie.
We are Stewie. But I remember, Geelong were going, they were raging hot favourites. They couldn't hit the side of a barn door though that day, a lot of points, but he turned the game on its head with those 2 goals. And then number 3 is Chris Judd, back in his junior days, 2003 against Brisbane. He's kicked 4 goals in a quarter, and 3 of them would have won goal of the year.
Was that on debut?
That was not on debut, but it was in his first couple of seasons. But he set the ground alight, and that was just individually, he put himself above the rest and stamped his mark on the competition. So there's my top 3.
That's elite, and we'll find out who everyone. If you're watching on YouTube, we were pretty flat with the comments. I'm going to say I was flat. We went from 30 to 10, but everyone's so positive on there that does. But get in the comments. If I can see the views, they're through the roof, but we're not getting enough comments. I want you to tell me, please tell me, Walls top 3 there, and make sure you not chuck Josh Dacos in there.
Yeah.
Who had the best quarter, and maybe Daisy as well, top 5. Who had the best quarter of all time? Also get a question in for next week whilst you're at it. There's plenty going on right here. Really well done, Wal. And we could sit here and break down all last week and we could go for hours, but I want to move past it because there's a lot to talk about. But the biggest one for me is, boys, if you're the Essendon CEO or you're the CEO of the AFL and you see the prime time slots and you've got Essendon on pretty much all of them against some very serious opposition, it's not a good look because I don't think Essendon even want to be there. What do you do? And can you do anything about it?
Well, I don't think we can currently with the way the system is now, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not the AFL does actually have a discussion because these games on prime time are worth so much to football clubs, and if you can sell out an MCG or Marvel Stadium, wherever it may be, it is worth a lot. The commercial value too of the television deals is worth an absolute ton. So the AFL want to make sure the rights holders are getting eyes across it, and I'm just not 100% sure that some of those slots that Essendon have been given, and it's through really no fault of their own. They deserve the opportunity. We all thought they were going to be up and coming this year, got some class players. But through injury, they are just now
depleted.
Yeah, they are depleted. They're non-competitive for long enough on a 4-quarter AFL performance. So this discussion may be the reason that in years coming, we have a sort of 3 or 4 week window where you go, hey, actually, let's manipulate the fixture. And I don't think anyone would have an issue with that. You sort of look at this weekend's games coming up. So Thursday night is your Essendon GWS Giants game.
The line's 50 already on PointsBet, so that's a blowout.
But so you've got other games. So the Hawthorn one that's down in Tassie, that's probably not going to be able to move. Collingwood, that's a Sunday game. So just these, there's not a whole lot that you can do at the minute.
But Daisy, it's more later in the year. Like they've got so many prime time slots.
They've got the next week. They've got the Dogs Friday night.
That's ugly for them because the Dogs are the highest scoring team and they are looking to play finals. So they're gonna have the foot down.
In 2 weeks' time after that, they've got the Cats down at GMHBA.
That's really ugly.
And the next one they've got St Kilda.
That's what I'm saying. So that one there, St Kilda, you'd think Ross would know how to just manipulate that one with his game style.
So
But
the
that's going to
Saturday
be ugly.
12:35 game is the Gold Coast Suns and the Giants. Would you happily say, hey, St Kilda?
Because the other thing that it probably is not spoken about, but when you're on a Thursday night or Friday night, it's all the media and anyone's talking about. So you can't get out of your own way.
Yeah.
So however they perform on Thursday night, which, they're going to struggle, it's all that anyone's going to talk about for 24 hours, maybe even 48 hours if it's a Thursday night. So unfortunately for them, with the position that they're in and their non-competitiveness over the 4 quarters, it's just going to be highlighted more and more. So in terms of people going to watch them the following week or, the ratings of how Essendon is perceived, it's just unfortunate. They'll be in the limelight because of the fixturing. If they were on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday, look, there's enough excuses, there's enough footy in there to blend and it's not going to be highlighted. But the fact that they're on the Thursday night, it's the only thing that people can talk about on a Friday morning. It's just going to add, salt to the wound.
Because if they were fully fit, I still think they'd be a real danger to come up against. And if they started getting on a bit of a run this time of year, their fans would start to show up. Yep. When you have a chance to sort of play party pooper to some sides who are really trying to cement a top 8 spot, that becomes interesting with itself. But where they are at the minute, it's so tough for them. I actually really feel for Brad Scott and the entire football club because you just cannot predict to have 14 debutants within a season. It's unprecedented.
Even the innocuous injuries on bye round. And then Nick Martin.
Who's go down. We send our thoughts to him and our prayers. I mean, that just kills you.
Do you think the AFL will change this ongoing now because of this? Because the floating fixture, isn't this what it's essentially all about?
I'm looking at the fixture on my phone here. Round 24, there's like TBC on everyone. Yeah. I just feel like after round 22, they should all be TBC.
Well, even to the point of,
I'd go around 20.
Because they do you get half their fixture. Why can't you then do it in like a 4-week block or a 5-week block? Because you sort of with the with the ratings that you do, you then get a sense of, hey, who's really lifted in this block here?
Who deserves it?
They've won 4 of their last 5. We've seen enough. You can make some really calculated decisions in planning as to who deserves the primetime spots. And what we've seen, the Gold Coast Suns deserve a primetime spot more often than not.
Round 23, you got games like Suns versus Giants played on a Saturday at 12:35 p.m. That's got prime time all over it for expansion of those clubs and to grow the game. That one would be a cracker to watch on a Thursday, Friday. Obviously, when you get into Friday, you're probably looking. The AFL probably wants to have it at the G with the Pies or someone like that. But with Carlton and Essendon just not performing, and Richmond as well being a young list, it's really probably the first time they've had to deal with this. I reckon with Big Four.
And we'll talk about Greg Swan. He starts as the AFL footy boss. So is this something that he puts on the agenda for the off-season? Is this one of his priorities? Now, we'll go through some of the stuff that, is probably going to be on his plate when he starts at the helm. But is the fixturing a major, if you talk about your top 4 things that you want to fix or the game to change, is that one of your top 4?
I reckon that, and Daisy can't talk, so I'll talk. The other one is the umpiring. And the goal umpiring in terms of the review. That's the biggest one. I reckon everyone's had enough. The holding the balls, it's just so inconsistent. But I'm not having a go at the umpires. I'm having a go at the way they changed the rules during the year. and
how they're supposed to adjudicate the game.
It's such a hard thing to adjudicate. So if I'm him, I'm coming in. That's the first thing I'm doing is making this the most simple thing to umpire so that fans aren't getting pissed off because people that have played the game since they were 4 years old don't even know what the rules are.
Now, back to your point, though, about Swanee and will he come in and this be something he looks at. The beauty of it is, so he's been to the Pies, the biggest club in the land when we were flying, but also the little parts there where they weren't going so well. Goes to Carlton when they were going like bastards, but had some primetime games. So he then feels the heat and knows sort of the commercial value of how that looks, and then goes to Brisbane. So you talk of the expansion markets. Do they get enough primetime games? He will have all these things. So he is a real wealth of knowledge across so many things from his time as CEO of football clubs. I said it last night, I can't wait for him to get in there because it just feels like he's going to be the glue that comes in and just everyone goes, hang on, settle down. He's the voice of reason. Let's listen.
I've got a couple more that on the agenda for him. To game length, you touched on score reviews, but I think game length and score reviews go hand in hand because the more more score reviews there are, the longer the games are. Does that need to change? Is that a top 3 for you or you?
Game length.
The game length is something I've only heard about this year, so I'm going to say no. I think the goal umpiring decisions, I said it's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. If you got the lifeline, I'm going to use it. And that's what the umpires do every single time, and it slows it down. Daisy spoke about it, how they can stop play 15 seconds later just to come back and just double check. It shouldn't happen. I reckon scrap the cameras or have the cameras so they're as good as the NFL and NBA. And if they're not, then get rid of them all completely and just have the umpires make a decision. And if you're the TV, this is the thing, the media then can kind of get them done dirty during the week if they make the wrong call. But they should all have the same technology, so they should be able to make the call straight away. I mean, it's for me, I watch the game and I think, how can the bloke in the box, like that's umpire, third umpire, whatever you call him, the guy that's overseeing it, not be able to be in the ear going, mate, this is what I think it is. You make your call, but this is what I would say over the top to make a sharper decision. That would cut out a lot of junk time. What do you reckon?
Oh, they just have to make a change. My biggest thing is make it more efficient. Whether you take it out completely, I don't think they'll do that, or you invest some money to make it the NFL, to make it horse racing. We touched on some of the slow-mo images. You can get it on a racetrack. There just needs to be investment. There needs to be a shift. And the other one is probably the MRO. That's the other big ticket item. I think is just it's
the inconsistencies.
The inconsistencies is
I think, and across the board, fans, and I'm sure the AFL almost would want it as well. Like when you sit there and they go, the matrix is so outdated that even if you put it through it, you get spat out different results. So again, it's no fault of anyone except just we haven't adapted with the times. Consistency across the board and probably clarity too as to, hey, this is how it's adjudicated. Deal with it. We don't care if you're up in arms. We're going to stick to it. And I think that becomes a better spectacle for everyone.
Yeah.
Marcus Bontempelli's been talked about a bit. Why hasn't he signed well?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. Look, there's a lot going on off field for Marcus in terms of, we touched on Arthur's Cafe.
New business, yep.
He's getting married at the end of the year. So there's a lot going on. And he'd be one to say, look, I just want to get it done maybe in the last quarter of the year or in the last 6
we're
rounds.
entering that now if I want to be real.
Yeah. And look, and to be honest, I don't have anything more. The only...
Should Dogs fans be reassured or now starting to get concerned?
No, reassured. I think he's not going to move. I wouldn't think he'd move. I'd be very, very surprised if he didn't sign with the Bulldogs. He's just such an integral part to the Bulldogs. He's a Bulldogs through and through. 250 games this year. He's going to be a legend of the club. He'll be a legend of the AFL. And to him, the pride of being a one-club player and taking us to the Holy Land is something on his agenda. But there is something interesting. There's something interesting whether, it was a moment in time or he's put the brakes on. I don't think he'd be chasing more cash. I just can't see that be a reason because shit, you'd throw the checkbook at him if you any worry about losing him. So
I got one for Daisy because while I want to keep you out of it,
I'm trying to
then.
protect him.
Daisy, if Bont was to leave, where does he go?
If he was to leave, that'd be the biggest story of the last 5 years by an absolute mile. Where would he go? Who's an unbelievable fit? Who's got cash to burn?
Is it 2-year deal somewhere then have Tassie in the back mind because he'd be primed for like a monster deal there?
Yeah, but again, does he want to go to Tassie and sort of finish his career out there? Again, you probably know better than most. I assume, would be a really good leader of the kids. We hear some of them speak about how he just tells them better every day. That's one of his mantras when he goes into the club, does touch with them all. I can't see him going anywhere though. I'm like you. If it did, it would absolutely blow me off my seat. So
blow me off my seat. That is very good by you, but you still haven't answered my question. If he was to leave, where would he go?
He could have the pick. If he said, come at me open market, every club would investigate as to how they could get him because he's that bloody good.
He's not 30 yet. So you've got at least 4 years.
More.
Yeah, no,
6.
but at least of this.
Window of just
of
champion.
him, of a champion, of one of the best players in the competition. So look, for Dogs fans.
But so if it's not cash, this is where the intrigue comes. If it's been put to him, which you've sort of alluded it has.
Has to be cash, doesn't it?
Or are they, length of deal?
No, I don't reckon it's length. Because people forget too, he signed a 4-yearer when he came out of free agency.
Right.
Just a 4-yearer. And again, that was just, I want 4 years of solid footy. Let's have another chat in 4 years' time. We'll see where I'm at.
Well, he's at the top of the game.
And he's still at the top of the game. So, look, I'll have nightmares.
You've got to fit Darcy. Well, Darcy's already signed in, but then you've got the emergence of Ed Richards. You've got some really good players across the board.
But see, Rory Sloane spoke about even back-ending his deal and giving him, even if he doesn't continue on the exponential path of performance, but it's more of that thank you for your services kind of
absolutely.
deal. Yeah,
you have
a bit
well.
like Tom Lynch. Tom Lynch is one of the highest paid players in the comp at the minute, but it isn't what he's doing this year. It's when he played for 3/5 of bugger all when they won flags.
Anyone in the AFL would have any grievances with paying him some money post, his prime. So look, whether you structure a deal like that to take care of, the Sam Darcys of the world that are coming through, I don't know. I'm not getting itchy yet, but I will break out into a rash in a few weeks.
I might have to start making some phone calls and see if I can get a little bit of intel, breaking exclusive
I don't think we need to. I can't see him leaving. I've got Xander Maguire, who's actually just tweeted this one earlier, but Luke Beveridge on Marcus Bontempelli's contract negotiations this morning, and it was, I think we're getting close. And it just has that. I cannot see him leaving. I obviously posed that question for just a hypothetical, but there's no way known a skipper who is a proud dog, who's the greatest dog of all time, people are saying, and he's still got plenty left in the tank. He's got a flag. They've got the forward line they have, the list. There's no reason he will leave. It's just, for me, I reckon it's about how many years? Is it 8, 9, 7? How much money? That's what they'd be going through right now, I would imagine. So anyway, we'll leave that there. Boys, let's get into a cracking week. We have so much to talk about. Round 19, this is the business end, and the AFL ladder, it's just so tight. So the games that are going to be interesting this week, as I just quickly pan over all of them, you've got Lions and the Dogs, 2nd v 9th. They're so important for all different reasons. You've got, Hawks and Port. Hawks to win is the more important one there. But if you keep scrolling down, you then have Collingwood playing Fremantle. Collingwood a little bit banged up. Fremantle holding on. They need to win, and they've been really poor in Melbourne, so they will set themselves for that. But the blockbuster at 4:40 on a Sunday, which is the 3rd v 5th, Adelaide Crows versus the Gold Coast Suns.
Suns?
Mac Andrew versus Rolly Thilthorpe. That is going to be box office.
He
the thrill
could not
seeker.
be in any better form, big bloody Riley.
I know. I don't think Mac would love the form that he's heading into, but he might
looks
actually.
Younger off field than he does on. Have you seen him speak in the press, like just in his everyday kit? He looks like a lovely young sort of 20-something-year-old gentleman. He goes on the field and he looks like he's been cutting logs for the last 15 years.
But I think, and this is no surprise to anyone, but he missed a lot of footy last year, and then he came back into the side, I think it was about round 18 or so. So he missed a fair chunk of footy and then started to show, some of the form that we're used to seeing now. But he's a massive reason why Adelaide are where they are.
Well, your Western Bulldogs, like Friday night footy, this is a massive game for them.
So this is my must-watch, and I'll take you through it a bit,
Please do.
Daisy. So Brisbane, look, they took care of Carlton. Carlton didn't really fire a punch, and we're not going to talk about Carlton. But look, Dunkley was enormous. He was awarded.
So does he go to Bont?
I think he does.
Wow.
Yeah, he does. So they were buck buddies there at one point, but now they're again opposition.
What were they?
Buck buddies. Say buck buddies, can you say that?
No, I don't know what that means, but I'm just glad I had a Bert in front of it.
You were buck
I
buddies.
thought you said another word.
Yeah, same.
Well, they were good. They were good mates. So
That'll be a fierce battle.
It'll be a fierce battle because Dunk's, he's really good at playing. He's got the offensive
How good
quick
is
with
he,
his
mate?
hands. He's such a good tackler and ferocious around the
But
footy.
so I reckon if you're in your same game multiplaying, this is a week where you look to the Bont to maybe go forward on him because I reckon that's where he's got a real advantage, a bit more height, a bit more strength and ball movement. So probably steering clear of any sort of disposal
I like
market.
what you're putting down. I've got a little propeller selection in this one. I'll release it later.
But Zach Bailey's going to miss, and that hurts, I reckon, because it's a real offensive weapon that Brisbane have had of late. But you talk of the game on the weekend, and look, I'll get your thoughts, Daisy, in a minute on the Bulldogs and where they sit. But I think it was a bit of a fail because here they are, primed list health-wise, come up against Adelaide, who are a good quality side. And again, they just didn't come up trumps. And you talk about their midfield. Look, Bont had 37, Ed Richard 29, Liver 27. So they got it done in the midfield. But unfortunately, it's just they've got some issues down back and how they stop goals and guys
They
like
can't
the thrill
defend well.
seeker.
They can't
They
defend.
can't. And their back six is held up okay. But when you're playing against the good sides, it's just the run-on of goals and momentum shifts. It's too great. So, look, where do you think they're at? Because a couple of weeks ago, you could say that, look, they're going to be in top 4 contenders. Now is it they're out of the 8. They find themselves out of the 8 with 6 rounds to go.
I think I've been pretty solid on they need to be a 3 or 4 better goal side defensively. And when you look, when they come up against the better side, 16 points to Freo, 4 goals to Brisbane Lions earlier in the year, 22 points to the Hawks, 14-point loss to the Cats, and 11 now to the Crom. So they're the only side inside the top 9 that's averaging more than 100 points per game for, but they're the only side inside that top 9 that's giving up more than 80 points defensively. So if it's a shootout, I like them. But if they're made to really defend and stop turnover and stopping teams that are very good going the other way, which the better sides are, I have my concerns. I do love the fact, though, they get to learn the lessons from Adelaide against one of the best sides in the comp on their home patch this weekend, and I'm sniffing the upset.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
on board
You
with
are a man that loves to feel it, and I like that. But let me just remind you a stat. The Dogs are 1-7 against teams in the top 8, boys.
Yeah, well, and that's sort of indicative of the
Yeah.
feel. Yeah, they need to get going. And again, like it's back half, this little sort of 6-week block going into finals is where you want to be playing your best football. You've set your season up and now you set your finals campaigns up and the rest of your year. So this becomes massive for everyone. The Brisbane Lions as well. They're going well, but they have to continue to beat good sides and show that they're going to be there again when the whips are cracking.
And get a home final. That's important for them, isn't it?
It's very important. As we said, Brisbane $1.56 in this one, and Western Bulldogs $2.45 points, but have the line at 15.5. Total point line 173.5. I reckon this will have a lot of offense. I don't know.
hope so.
I feel like both teams allow points, and yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of tagging going on with Brisbane. I think I noticed. I think Lockie Neal said in an AFL interview, we don't really tag, but when we do, it might be the Bont is the only one from memory. So. That just means it's head-to-head football. And with Bailey out, I think it opens up the game a little bit more. It's going to be a bit more competitive. So I can see this going up and down all night.
Yeah, and Brisbane have won 3 of the last 4. Now, the 5th one that I hadn't included in that was when Dogs was it a prelim or a semi that they beat them by a point when Bailey Smith kicked 4. So
yes.
on their own deck. So there's a little bit of history there, and Dogs didn't go into favourite into that one. So Brisbane, probably just want to get one back because they did lose that game. It was a cracking game. But in terms of the more recent history, Brisbane have 3 of the last 4. So look, it's I'm sitting in the hopeful that the Doggies will get it done. I'm going to be a fan more than an expert on that one because if they don't, and they're now probably 2 games out of the 8, and where does that see them? They're going to struggle and rely on other teams to lose to make the 8.
Righto, boys. We all know your best mate when it comes to building a multi or arming yourself with everything you need to know about the game of footy is StatMate. So download it on the App Store now. They have been on fire, StatMate, and these are the fun facts for this one.
Please
we love a
give it to
prime time StatMate specials. Righto, here we go. Lachie Neale averages 31.6 disposals in his last 5 matches against the Dogs. That is the 2-time Brownlow medalist. He has 28, 33, 31, 38 and 28 for 30 plus. You get 245 on PointsBet. Marcus Bontempelli averages 25 in his last 5 at the Gabba. 35, 30, 20, 29, 26. You can get $1.80 with PointsBet for 25. Now, obviously, if he's going to get tagged, I don't like to touch ones that are getting tagged. But, as I said, StatMate is your best mate, so monitor that. Hugh McCluggey just had 25 disposals in all of his last 5 matches at the Gabba. Sam Darcy has kicked 2+ goals in 9 of his last 10. So if you want to get $1.48 for 2, that's what you get on the PointsBet app. And Eric Hipwood has kicked 11 goals in his past 2 matches versus the Dogs. He's 420 for 3+. So there's the value there, Eric Hipwood. But
this isn't a stat, mate. This is a daisy, mate. 3 or more get you $8.50. So if the Bont is to go forward,
I like it.
Juice. That is plenty of juice.
So there you go. Download it now on the App Store. That is StatMate, your best mate when it comes to building a multi or arming yourself with everything you need to know about the game of footy. Boys, we move on, but we've skipped a game. I just want to quickly talk about it. It's the Packages return on Thursday Night Football. We'll be down at Port Arlington for the Kick for Cash. We can't be more excited about this one. Me and Wal will be out there with Billy Brownless and Mitchie and Port Arlington, and we'll be kicking the football through the big sticks. Yes. Well, Mitchie will be. We might have 1 kick each with him selecting us on his opposite, the second one. But we're going to get probably this second half on television. But when I walk into the dressing rooms or the sheds or whatever they've got down there at the muscles, as you like to call them, the muscle cave, I expect Bombers to be down by a lot. The line for this feels wrong, boys. I've got the PointsBet up in front of me here, but with what we just said, it's
8-9 goals.
I mean, is it 100 points?
Well, if it's played in the manner that the same game between Richmond and Essendon was played last week, it could be north of that.
Yeah. The only reason it's not is because Hogan's out, but 44.5 is the line. You've got to think the Giants are almost there in the middle of the third.
Again,
this is no disrespect to Essendon, but they're not playing Shield, Perkins. There's a few players they could be playing. They're playing the kids.
If you look at 44.5 though, you break that down. Are they going to win every quarter by more than 2 goals? And you'd reckon.
I reckon they win every quarter by 20 goals.
Well, 20 goals. What's that line?
Let's have a little competition, boys. I want to skip through. Hang on.
I've got Daisy Mate's got them 1,000 plus. Total points over.
Quick one here. Just a little bit of fun. There. I want to revisit this next week. This is a little bet between us 3. Right, give me what you think the Giants will win by. Closest 2 wins. The rest of yours, it's a little 50 in each other's pocket.
So I reckon 131 plays 45.
No, just give me the points. I'm just keep it simple.
Okay, 84 points.
84. Yep.
I'll take 100. They probably plays. What'd you say? 80.
84, mate.
Come on,
96.
Daisy. How much was that?
96.
96. Okay, I'm gonna go 97, so I win. Because I got a bit of fucking. All right, let's just revisit that next week.
You got to go last.
Hey, anyone on YouTube, get in the comments before the game and write the score that you think the Giants will win by. I think the line is way too low there. Righto, let's keep moving through. We're not going to talk about every game.
Good.
But the blockbusters. So we'll skip over the Hawks and Port.
Going.
Sydney North,
Keep going.
Carlton, Melbourne. That'll be interesting, though. That will be close. West Coast, Richmond. Jeez, it's a Pooch Saturday. Super Saturday is Pooch, is absolute Pooch, as Hibbo would say. By the way, breaking news. The pig is returning to Tommy Talks next week. Ooh. Just going to break it here on the AFL show. Okay, Sunday. This is box office. Yes. I think more so in the afternoon. The Cats, they have St Kilda down at GMHBA, but then it's the Pies and Fremantle with the overlap. This is what the AFL, your mate Swanee that you just mentioned, get rid of this overlap shit and have the game at 6:30 so I can watch the Dockers into the primetime game. Anyway, the last 2 games, boys, we'll talk about them before we get to our favourite segment, and that is the Profit Propeller. Collingwood, Fremantle. Yeah. Do you think Fremantle are a chance?
I'm not sold. So the talk all week and coming out of that last game where they were very, very good in managing to get the win there against the Hawks, 100+ tackles, yada, yada. Yeah, fantastic. Good on you. They've been in some good form. Since round 10, they've only dropped the 1 game. But the tackle differential in nearly all of those, they've lost. So this isn't this is what we do, this is our identity, this is our brand. If it is to be ongoing, good on you, well done. This is the point in time we look at it and go, this is where they got it going. I think against Collingwood, who've just been beaten, they weren't outplayed massively by the Gold Coast Sun. Inaccuracy hurt them. They pride themselves on the differential in the pressure rating. They couldn't give a stuff if it's 120 as long as they're 135. As long as they've got a differential, they go a long way to winning the game. I think they'll be showing up and showing Fremantle just exactly what pressure is there at the MCG. And I think the Pies can get it done comfortably against the Dockers.
Comfortably. Give me a margin because comfortable sounds like 30.
Yeah, four or more goals.
Wow. Okay.
I agree. I think Collingwood, we spoke about 9 wins on the trot. There was no chinks in their armour. They came up against a rampaging Gold Coast and then still had enough fight, which proved that they're still a good side. I think they're, like you said, the pressure, it's going to be right up. I think there's an individual on Freo's side, Jordan Clark. We haven't spoken too much about him on the show, but
it'll be interesting to see where you've got him next week in your
because he's put together a really good 6 weeks, but then you look at his whole season in its entirety, he's been a star. So he's one. Brayshaw and Sarong obviously had good, strong games on the weekend. They rely on them still too much, I believe. And Collingwood's just the spread of contributors. They've got the Dacos boys, which we spoke about. They'll be too strong, and that pressure factor. If they can get a couple of troops back in McCreary, which is really important, I think he plays a really important role for them. And then if they can get DeGoey going, I think they're still first in my eyes by a fair way.
I reckon you guys are sleeping on Freo this week. They match up well, I reckon, against the Pies this week. Jeremy Howe out. He's so important, the way he flies across the pack. Nick Dacos looked banged up. I think Sarong and Brayshaw, they don't really get a tag this week. Collingwood don't tag. I think this will be closer than you think. So I'm going to go against you. And the other thing is Fremantle.
I'll go head-to-head for a carton.
Let's do that.
Actually,
I deserve 2-1.
Not 2-1. I'll give you a start. I said 20.
Give me the line.
I'll give you, what's the line?
The line right now on this sheet that I've got in front of me is 20.5. And I'll take that line any day of the week.
I'll give you 24 because I'm a nice guy.
Okay. Me v Daisy. And what is it? Just a carton of piss?
Yep.
I'm doing dry July. What about a new putter?
Well, there's no T's and C's that say you have to drink it this month, Tommy. That's just the bet. You're going to lose, so I'm not doing dry July. Bring me the carton.
All right, well, that's easy done. Boys, fire up, but I reckon the Wharfies will get it done.
Good luck.
Especially with that line. That's easy. Okay, just a quick one before we get to Adelaide and Gold Coast, because it's prime time that. Daisy, you've been there. You've won a flag, all right? This is in terms of winning a flag. Where do you think the boys are at? Where do you think the Pies' preparation's at? 6 weeks to go, big final series coming up. A few players that you just mentioned that are superstars that are going to return. Where do you see them as a football club heading into September?
Well, I told you this earlier in the season, their list is better than what it was the year they won the grand final. And now that you get to this point in the year when they've set it all up, you think of the hunger that drives the group. So, yes, going back to the top of the mountain is there when you've got experienced blokes like Pendle, Side, he's still playing some great footy. Nick Dacos, we know the lofty standards that he holds. But then you've got blokes like Dan McStay, who didn't get there. You've brought in Houston, who hasn't been there. He wants Membry as well. So you've got players who are playing consistent footy who are going to continue to drive that want to be part of another premiership tilt. So that's the hunger. So you've got the older blokes who are professional being there. They'll be driving the standards. You got your middle chunk of players that want to be there. And then you got the new guys going, this is why we came. We're not going to let you down. It just shapes up perfectly for them and where they're sitting right now. It's clearly, there's a long way to go before we get to finals. But if it was played tomorrow, they'd be $1.15 favourite.
Are you concerned about the injuries, though? I've got reporting news, by the way. I saved this one before we did the bet. But Houston's out for 2 weeks with abdominal strain. So that'll be handy for the Lions.
Abdominal. Yeah. So they're near abdominals.
Abdominal?
Yeah.
But Houston's out with abdominal strain. So that's 2 weeks on the sideline. Are you concerned about all these injuries coming late, though? There's a lot.
No, they can cover for them. They've rested enough players in and around. So you lose one, but you've got another fit one that you've been able to carry through, or maybe you'll be able to sit out to get back through it. You don't want these coming in your rounds 22, 3 and 4, and that's in the lap of the gods. We don't know about that. But right now I don't think that's a concern.
But even Fly McRae and the coaching staff, they'd be focusing on scenarios and different fine tuning of their game plan, which you only get when you put yourself in a position like Collingwood. And Brisbane to a point.
And
who are
they've
in
got
second.
so this week, and then the Brisbane Lions in a fortnight. So this is a game they've sort of got to make sure they put in a really good performance for, because then they get some short breaks. So that was some of the reason that Pendle started as the sub on the weekend. But you got Fremantle, Brisbane Lions, and Adelaide and Hawthorn. Brisbane Lions, Hawthorn, and Adelaide, all within a little condensed block. They're going to be playing some really good footy come the back end of the year, and we'll know exactly where they sit by the time they get to round 23.
Yeah, because they'll come up against one of them at least in the final. So, yeah, there's a lot of learnings and some of the plots that you talk about within the game and matchups and key things that they take into those games, whether they replicate them again in the final series or do they save their some of their plans. It's just going to be interesting coaching.
Yeah, well, Josh Dacos playing on ball will be one thing that you might be able to play later on as a strategic move. All right, we've been harping on a little bit here, so I want you to go quickly with your most powerful points. Who wins this game of football? Because this is huge for both clubs. Crows sitting third, Suns sitting fifth. Both teams coming off a great win. 4:40 on Sunday, and it's going to be played at Adelaide Oval. Start with you, Wal.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Adelaide. I think they won away from Adelaide Oval last week against the rampaging Dogs. Look, they've just got some firepower. We speak about it every week, and their midfield was really strong. Jordan Dawson led the front. Got a lot of coaches' votes on the weekend. So, again, in their eyes, played really well. And we spoke about the thrill seeker and his ability to clunk and kick goals. And Taylor Walker's just a sleeping giant. He's going to have a big breakout game in a minute. He's a little bit out of sorts, but I still think that he's got the firepower to really influence games. And the Gold Coast Suns, look, like I said, it's a big win for their club, one of the biggest in their history. And if they want to continue to be revered like that, they're going to come up and play some big games and get some more wins. So, look, I can't see them winning. It's going to be a close game. I can't wait to watch it on 5 o'clock on a Sunday night. It's actually, I'm looking forward to tuning in. So
It's a nice time slot for the family, man.
it is.
4:40 p.m. to be exact.
I'll
just
have
in
my
case you
chef's
need to
hat
put
on
your
and
same
all the-
gamers on, boys. Not 4:40 Australian Eastern
So
Standard
you're
Time.
tipping the Crom?
I'm tipping the Crom in a close one.
I can see Daisy getting a bit frustrated because
No,
he's
no.
the Suns man.
I
Are you
am
going
the
to follow up with the Suns?
I am, absolutely. Yeah, I think as long as there's not an emotional come down, I think, again, that confidence we spoke of, the way they moved the footy, the offense, it was just something I hadn't seen, this diagonal running patterns that just made it so hard to defend. A lot of sides sort of slide in behind and then come forward. You could see the Collingwood players going, do I go to that bloke or that bloke? And it was, a real point difference in the game.
Who does Mac play on? Who does Mac go to?
Hopefully the thrill seeker.
You reckon?
Yeah, it has to.
Just, mate,
Has
just
to.
walk up,
That-
they just start clubbing each
Yeah,
other, sort of Lynch and Wakeland
How
style.
many goals does he kick?
Oh, I don't know.
I've got 3.
Yeah,
I think any more than 3, and then he
3.
wins. If he kicks 3, I reckon it's a half, and if 2, the Mac wins.
Yeah, I think anything under, it's probably 3.5's a good line for success there. But no, I think the Gold Coast Suns can get it done in a good game.
I'm going to back you in. While I think Adelaide 1-39, I think the big win. It's amazing when you see a young list. They have their high last week, and then to back it up is very tough on the road. If it was in Gold Coast, it's a different story. But in Adelaide, I reckon the Crows might get it done.
Dawson and Rao, you reckon?
Matty
Nah, I don't think you can go head to head Jordan because he'll just go to half back or go forward. He's just a superstar, Jordan Dawson.
You'd just like to see that.
You would.
You just want to see some.
I reckon Matty Rao, there wouldn't be anyone else, I don't think, sort of back to the Mitch Robinson days. If you put a ball between the two of us,
you
that I'd
wouldn't
be
wanna-
going, I'm not sure about that one. You can have it. Like the old 50-50,
Trying to get the
maybe a
ball over. He's a
51-49. Yeah.
bull.
He's a
He
bull.
He just loves it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about the golf coming up after, because I know Daisy wants to give his tip on the Open, and we're going to have a little bet on our punters club.
Yep.
Boys, fire up. Are we
Keep firing up.
Are we going to put sage on it again, or is it's all saged out?
There's a chance that wasn't Sage, apparently.
Are we? God, the Propeller has been a highlight for all of us. So I think
it's not us.
It's not us.
We've done our bit. Maybe the club who wins it this week can send a video of them saging themselves.
And we had, just so you know, we had 18 new clubs enter this week because they are starting to see, holy shit, they obviously are jumping on board now. And we can't thank everyone enough that's been on our Instagram link tree and signed up to the Propeller form so that your club gets a chance to enter the wheel and then we spin it. And I do want to apologise to Greenvale. My man Bonners has messaged me. He's the representative. He's DM'd a few times. Greenvale's been next door 6 times. We're going to spin it again. But here he goes. Is there any chance you bloody spuds can land it there? Because they've been one of those clubs that have been there from the start. But that's what we love about this Propeller. It gives you a chance. And last week was Unbelievable. So can we get it done in round 19, lads? I think we can. Can we lock in our bets now? Yes. And then we'll head to the Propeller and get you boys to let rip once again. Yep. I'll start with Daisy.
Yep, I'm going to the Geelong St Kilda game on the Sunday down at GMHBA Stadium. I'm not sure who goes to Patrick Dangerfield. He'll be playing out of the square. Him to kick 2 or more goals gets you a nice $2.05. I think that's good enough for old Daisy boy and good enough for the Propeller.
I like it. A bounce-back game from Danger at home. Very nice.
I'm going to be clinical as well. I'm going to Launceston, Hawthorn v Port Adelaide. One, Nick Watson. I know we put a curse on him earlier in the year, but he's kicked 6 goals in the last 3 weeks, so averaging 2, and I think he's going to get another 2. Port Adelaide have a few out. Their captain is not playing this weekend. So they're going to get a lot of ball forward. It's going to be cold, so the ball's going to be on the deck a bit, and I think Nick's going to have a day out and kick his 2.
I'm going to give us a little bit of juice, boys. On Friday night. Haven't gone Friday night for a while. I've let you boys take it. So a bit of pressure. I wanted to go Thursday night, but I don't think it's...
I will allow it. Like if you want it for your life, as you say to us every week.
I like this one. I like this one a lot. I've done a fair bit of research on this one, and it is Sam Darcy for 3 goals against Brisbane. I think last week I thought he was quiet and he kicked 2. So if that's his quiet game, he only needs to play okay and he'll kick 4.
So Harris Andrews goes to him?
I think Harris Andrews rolls off a lot, and I think that Sam is very hard to defend. And if he plays in the goal square, I know Naughty's been popping up, but I think, by the way, the tall timber bet last week was saluted at halftime. If anyone got on the points bet special, like
reinvesting in the third quarter with the money that's been paid out.
What about that? 15 goals between the tall timber, and I think they did it at halftime.
Well, 3 even got it.
Anyway, I get back to my point. Sam Darcy, 3 goals at $2.50. I'm locking him in on Friday night football to get the Propeller flying.
Send the Propeller through the roof. Anytime you get above that,
back in the 20,000 type of territory. Righto, well, that's our work done.
Yep.
And if it's anything like last week, that's 3 from 3. And then we just need the 4th. We just need a team performance. It's hard to play 4 quarters. So here we go. This week, little drum roll or a little, what do you call it, Daisy?
Drum roll.
This week, we reveal the new club. It's going to be St. Paul's McKinnon Football Netball Club. It is the Doggies that join that Propeller. The big dogs. So while you'd love that one, but St. Paul's McKinnons, I think they're not far away from Chadstone, which is an easy drive for us to drop the briefcase with cash off if we salute next week. Yep. All right, lads, assemble positions. I'd like you to copy last week. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I think we do that again.
Here we go. Here we go. Round 19. The Profit Propeller is off and spinning. Walls ripped it. Here we go. The winner of this week's going to be the Warriors. Who is it, boys? Read it out.
It's the Modeware. What the f***'s Modeware?
Modeware Warriors. Modewari Warriors. There we go. Jeez, that is the worst announcement we've had all year, but that might be something different. Give me the fucking sign, would you idiots? This week's going to be the Modewari Warriors, a great country club. Mahia check. Oh, boy. There you go, boys. We're going to give the president or the representative a call, but this is exciting. The Warriors, a great country club. Well, let's hope they're a great punting club, fellas. We need them to salute and not do research. Put that back on the propeller for me, Wal.
I'll try and figure out where the hell it is.
Daisy, work that out later because that's not important right now. What's important is I recap what we've done. So I've got Sam Darcy 3 goals.
Good.
Then we've got Walls going to the Wizard for 2, and then you've got Danger for 2, and then we're going to call them, and they're going to select something for us, and we'll put that up on social media, so keep your eyes peeled. Daisy.
Talk to me.
Australasian Open Market. Any Australian or Kiwi to win the Open, you get $19 with PointsBet. It's a special. You love your golf. We heard Mitch Georgiades earlier. He tipped Johnny Rahm to take it out. Have you got a tip for us that you like? A little bit of Daisy Mail on the Open.
So Sepp Straka, $51 was pretty good in the Scottish Open. Left a few out there. So a bit of open form. Links form in golf is obviously very different to how they usually play. And I'm pretty keen on my boy, I just need to find him here, Ricky Fowler, to make the cut. $1.57, so not a huge amount of juice, but it's better than some of the $1.03s you're getting about your Scotty Scheffler. So Ricky Fowler to make the cut there, if you're going to have yourself a little multi with something else across the weekend. But $1.57 for Ricky and Sepp Straka, $51 to win it.
There you go. Gamble responsibly. Check out the PointsBet app, built differently, a bit like the boys on set here. Let's recap what an amazing show that was. We heard from our man from North Footscray. Mitch Georgiades has joined us. He's donated a pair of boots. He's second in the Coleman. We've broken down this week, round 19, and we've just locked in our bets for the Profit Propeller. Daisy's given us a tip. And next week, You boys are going to come in prepared with your power rankings, your All-Australian locks and squad. And we have Michael Hibberd joining us on Tommy Talk Sunday night. It's all happening right here.
Massive week.
Thank you so much to everyone that tunes in. Get in the comments if you're watching it. Just write something, even as a question for Daisy or Wal. Anything you want to see, we'll bring it up next week. We can't bring up a question from last week. 10 comments after 31. We're flat. We're working our tits off over here. And Port Arlington Muscles, a.k.a. the Demons, fire up because you boys are going to have some cash in the bank.
Drop the hammer. Wrap it up.
You
Put
just
a bow on it.
some cash. Righto, that's me done.
See you, boys.
StatMate makes AFL player stats easy. At the click of a button, you can discover insights like you've never seen before. Disposals and goals to fantasy points, how a player performs at a certain venue, or even when a teammate is out through injury, StatMate has you covered. Don't waste your time. Become an expert in just a few taps of a button. AFL player stats and insights thanks to your new best mate. Download StatMate for free today.